South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai-Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book. Here at the South Point, I'm Jeff Parles. She's Alex White. Good morning. We got a lot. We got a lot to get to today. There's a lot of great hoops. Arguably, other than the March Madness, arguably the best day of the year because basically all the good teams are going except for the SEC and the Big Ten. But Alex, let's dive in.
Yeah, fun day yesterday. Looking forward to another one today. So games already going on. If you want to give a little update about those.
Yes, we will actually hit one marquee one in a second because I want to get Arkansas and Ole Miss out before we get as we start here, because this game's going to start momentarily. Hogs right now are 4.5-point underdogs against Ole Miss. Rebs, first game in this tournament. Hogs, all number dependent yesterday. If you got the good numbers, you won. You got the worst of it, you lost. 4.5, 146.5. Winner gets Auburn tomorrow.
I got to believe that Arkansas is the right side here, taking the points. I think this game should be more of a pick-em. Plus, Arkansas does have revenge. I did not bet it. It did not make my whiteboard, but I definitely lean that way. Of course, we always know Arkansas can be a little inconsistent, but they're the better defense. And then I think yesterday was more about letting their foot off of the gas, right? Because they did have a pretty dominant first half there, 47-30 over South Carolina, and then just kind of let them back in that game, which I believe is why people are betting Ole Miss in this one. So I think that's the right side. I have not jumped in, and we'll wait and see if there's an opportunity to jump in if I get a better number.
There is only one concern with Arkansas that does not have to do with basketball, but we'll leave that on the vine there. 4.5, I think, is good. Again, you're not going to see a 5 before this starts.
No.
But let's see how this plays in-game, because this game's about to start. If Ole Miss comes out, is making shots, and Arkansas's effort isn't that bad, then you can go ahead. But again, let's see what we get in-game here. I thought this should have came 2. So,
yeah,
4.5, the number on this one. All right, we'll keep rolling through the Southeastern Conference in a second, but I want to go to the ACC before we pivot back because there's potentially major news there. Forget the fact that Duke, who is a 23-point favorite, is losing at the half to Georgia Tech right now, 31-27 or 31-26. Duke, by the way, 12-point second-half favorites, which makes them 7 points for the game. Cooper Flagg left this game with a very ugly-looking ankle roll. Came down on a Georgia Tech foot, rolled his left ankle, unable to put any weight on the foot when going back to the locker room, ends up getting wheelchaired back into the X-ray room there in Charlotte. So potentially I don't want to call it earth-shattering, but it's pretty darn close for college basketball landscape thing. If Flagg's injury is significant, we won't know more until the game ends, but it didn't look good. And if he's in a wheelchair getting x-rays, he ain't coming back today. So at least monitor that over the next few days, Alex.
Yeah, definitely. For this game, I would be concerned. I don't want to speculate too much, but I didn't think it looked that bad, but we'll see what happens coming up. This was always a concern for me with the future market and looking at Duke and betting them to win the whole thing because they are so dependent on him and he is such a big part of that team. We'll see how they come out in the second half. You're right, Jeff. He is in a wheelchair going back right now, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully enough time to heal up before next week.
Yeah, again, big issue, obviously. You're more likely than not national player of the year. Again, we don't want to speculate. We don't know. Shades of Kenyon Martin back in 2000, though, for people that are in the know. Not good. Not good, to say the very least. But we'll keep you updated if we get any more on Flag. Duke was the overwhelming favorite. This definitely throws a wrench in your dad's minus 400, Alex. But losing to Georgia Tech, which would be a monster upset, Flag or not, Georgia Tech was a 23-point underdog in this game and leading at the break by 5 right now. As we'll keep you updated throughout the show here on what we may be getting. All right, let's pivot back to the SEC and then we'll work our way back up around everything here, Alex. We'll go back to the SEC. Texas and Texas A&M. Longhorns got a huge win yesterday. They beat the 12-seeded Vanderbilt Commodores. Now they get another shot at Texas A&M. If you remember the last time these teams played in Austin, Texas A&M got out to an 18-point lead in that game and blew it all together. They ended up losing by 1. That might honestly be the game that gets Texas in the tournament more so than anything. 5.5 with A&M, 139 to total. Alex, I don't have anything to do with this game. I think everything's spot on here.
I do too. Side and total, I do think A&M should be about a 6-point favorite here in this one. I still am not in love with this Texas team, though. So if you made me play it, I would lay the 5.5 with A&M. And I like that you just brought up that and reminded me that they did lose that huge lead and Texas came back to win that because I knew that they split in the regular season. Forgot how that really played out in that second game there. So leaning even more towards A&M now in this one.
Yeah, A&M won by 20 thanks to a dominant second half in the first meeting. But again, it was all A&M until it wasn't in Austin about a month and a half ago. On the bottom of the bracket in the SEC, Missouri, who is in a 3-game funk right now, takes on Mississippi State. First meeting for these two teams, Mizzou went to Starkville, a place they traditionally struggle, and annihilated the Bulldogs by 27 back on February 1st. I don't think either of these teams have played. Obviously, Missouri's in the worst stretch of the year. Mississippi State has not played well either since the calendar's turned over to February. They've lost 4 of their last 5, including to the bubble teams in Oklahoma and Texas and Arkansas in 3 of their last 4. It's 3.5. I'm staying out. I need to see what Missouri looks like before I do anything. But if Missouri looks right, this could be an in-game scenario, but I'm staying out of it here.
I do like the points here. Really, this league, this conference is just so competitive. All these teams are so good. So I think when you're getting points, it's definitely a value there. So I like Mississippi State plus 3.5. I made this game Missouri 1. So that's already a big enough difference there. And then you can give the revenge factor of them going into Starkville and winning that game outright. So I think Mississippi State's the right side here. We'll see how both these teams look coming out in this one after a rough stretch to the end of the regular season.
Yeah, I'm more so curious to see what Mizzou looks like than Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State kind of showed you what they are. They're 7, 8 seed, maybe even a 9 seed quality. One awesome player, obviously, in Josh Hubbard, but again, really struggling. Down the stretch, 4 or 5. For Mississippi State. This is the get-right spot for both of these teams, honestly.
Interesting yesterday in the SEC, 4 overs with those first 4 games. Yeah. And This one I would lean to the over as well. I know we are trying to avoid them, but there are a few good spots, and both of these teams trended to the over all year long, 19-2 and 19-12, sorry, and 18-12 to the over.
Mississippi State included in that waxing of LSU, who by the end of the year ended up being pretty clearly the worst team in the league, even with South Carolina getting the bottom seed in the SEC tournament. All right. ACC, we updated you on Georgia Tech, stunningly ahead of Duke right now. Again, the big news in that game, Cooper Flagg leaving the game, looked like a pretty gnarly twist of the left ankle, had to go back to the locker room, couldn't put weight while being helped back, then needed a wheelchair to get to the examination rooms. So bad news all the way around on the Duke end of things. So we'll keep you updated if that game what happens in that one. Again, Duke was a 23-point favorite, losing by 5, and sure looks like Flagg is not going to be coming back tonight at a bare minimum. And we'll see how that all plays out. The potential beneficiaries of that could be the winner of the 4-5 game, Alex White, assuming that we'll see what even happens if Duke even gets through here against Georgia Tech. Carolina, who thumped yesterday through their victory over Notre Dame, 6-point favorites against Wake. Wake has been a disappointment to me. I really thought that this was the year they were going to take the step forward. They didn't do it. They're 6-point underdogs in this game against UNC. Total 147. I don't really trust North Carolina, even though I think that 6 seems about fair on them. So maybe UNC on a better number in game if Wake gets out hot. But I like Carolina to win this game. Probably find a money line dance partner with the heels in this one.
I think that would be the way to play it. I do think UNC wins this game to move on to the next round. That was a good performance we saw from them yesterday. In the first game, Wake did win that one, 67-66, and they dominated the boards. Neither of these teams are very good at rebounding, so it's really going to come down to whose shots are going in. I would lean to the Tar Heels here, staying hot.
Don't like this Wake team. Again, this is the thing with the ACC. Once you get past the bottom, the top 3, it really falls off a cliff, as we've talked about. But, hey, if Flagg is unable to play the rest of this ACC tournament, then you know what? Even if he is, if I'm Duke, I'm shutting him down the rest of this week. Yeah. Next week's more important. Carolina going to have a shot regardless of the opponent tomorrow, or Wake, for that matter, whoever wins this game. All right, Stanford and Louisville. Wild finish at the end of the Stanford-Cal game yesterday. Cal does cover, even though it looked like we the potential to get screwed over on that at the end. Cardinals up to 10.5 in this game against the Cardinal. We got to really differentiate here. So Louisville 10.5-point favorites with a total of 142.5.
And Louisville really dominated when these two played each other the last game of the regular season. 68-48. 3 different starters had double-digit points in that game. I do think they are by far the better team. I think 10.5 is the correct number. Can't really do anything there. Potentially look at the under here at 142.5. I did like that 144 even better than this now that it is going down. But Stanford does want to play at a slower pace. Louisville's going to try and run here, but I do think Stanford will be able to slow them down a little bit. So lean to the under. Nothing confident in this side or total. Yeah,
I'm going to stay out of this. It does feel like a ton of points at 10.5, though, at Stanford. And that's all I'll say. Even though these two teams, the end of regular season, remember, played at the Yum, and Louisville thoroughly controlled that game and covered with ease in a 20-point victory. So, I don't know. 10.5 feels a little steep, though. All right, next game. SMU really put it on Syracuse in the second half yesterday. Clemson, 7-point favorites now against the Stangs here in this game. 142.5. Total's already been bet down a bunch in this game. Open 145 at Superbook, open 144 behind us. Already bet down, and I agree with the movement, and I don't think we're done yet moving down on this total here, Alex. I think we're going to keep going down as this day continues on Clemson and SMU. Still don't mind under 142.5.
I do not at all. I have 135 as my total, but it does make me a little bit nervous. Both of these teams trended to the over. SMU 17-14 and Clemson 16-14, and both of them are better offensively than they are defensively. It's really about pace and how Clemson wants to slow this down. I'm intrigued by this game. I think it's going to be a pretty good game here, and I like the points with the Mustangs. I think that it can keep this game close. They also have the revenge factor going for them. As good as Clemson is, and I really do like this team. I have them 5. on a neutral against SMU, so throw in that 2.5, and I'm getting good value here with 7.
I'm staying out except on the side. Total, I still think 142.5 is, like you said. I mean, you still got a nice little advantage there, Alex.
I do, 7.5.
Even at the worst of the number on that total. All right. We'll shift back to the top of the board in the way of rotation numbers. We'll go to the MAC. One seeded Akron just pummeled Bowling Green this morning, 96-67 in Cleveland. 4-5 matchup, 5-seeded Ohio favored in this game, a 3-point favorite over the Toledo Rockets. And Alex, I would actually lay the 3 with Ohio, a Toledo team that usually what happens with Toledo, a good regular season team fall flat on their face in the MAC tournament. That's what's happened the last few years, where they've been arguably the best team in the league through the MAC season. This year, not so much. Yeah, there is double revenge. I know on your side you like looking at that, but I just think Ohio is a much better basketball team, so that's why I like the Cats laying 3 in this game.
I am concerned. There are a couple players for Ohio that we do need to check on. I don't know if they are going to play with it. A.J. Brown, he missed the last 2 games, and then there is one more as well.
Brown's the bigger one to look at here, who looks like he is not going to play, but it doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
He didn't play in the last game.
I do think that is the right side. I do have them 3, and then with that revenge, maybe 5.5 here, getting a 2.5-point difference. But I'm just going to stay off of it just because of the injury concerns here. Toledo, the better offense, but we'll see what they can do in tournament play.
Miami of Ohio, the 2 seed up next, takes on 7 seed EMU. A big gap in the Ken Palm rankings once you get you get past the 5 seed at Ohio here. But this is only 4.5. I'm going to stay out of this because I think this number is too short, and it's suspiciously too short for me in this game. So I got to steer clear. Maybe you go in Ohio, Miami of Ohio money line parlay. Maybe you do something like that. But I feel like the Red Hawks should be a little bit more than 4.5 in this game, Alex.
I have it 4.5, so I do think that number is right. Looking at the first 2 games, Miami, Ohio out-rebounded 37-32, had more block steals, less turnovers. Eagles shot really well, though. Eastern Michigan, second game, they won 76-66, still had 15 turnovers. And found a way to win that one. But Miami, Ohio had a terrible shooting night. I don't expect that again from them. So I would lean to the favorite here. I think Eastern Michigan was very fortunate to get that win that they did to split in the regular season. The
other directional Michigan school in action as well. Two of the 3, Central Michigan didn't make it. Western did. 10.5 against the Golden Flashes of Kent State here with a total of 142.5. 10.5 Kent State favored. Again,
another split in the regular season. Kent State, by far the best defense in the conference. I think that number is a little bit steep. I lean to Western Michigan here. These are 2 of the best rebounding teams in the MAC, so it's really just going to come down to that. So 10.5, now that number is really getting a little bit too rich for me. I think that taking the dog here would be the value.
Let's move to the A-10. Already underway in Washington, D.C. Bonaventure and Duquesne, the 8-9 matchup. Duquesne has basically led the whole game. They're up by 5 with 3 at the under 4 timeout. Duquesne was a small dog in this game. So see if the Dukes, who of course stunned their way through to the A-10 title and an NCAA tournament win a year ago. Totally different team. Not a good year for them. Dambrot, of course, retired after last year's magical run. But Dukes up by 5 with 3:39 to go in the ball game.
Refresh my memory. Were they the same way with the variance and the 3-point shooting last year? Because this year it seems like if they're on and they're making their 3-point shots, then yeah, you can easily back them. 34% from 3, the 165th in the country, and they shot very well in the first game against St. Bonnie's here. So that is why they won that first matchup. And then the second game, not so good. So.
It was an elite defense last year. Okay. I just had to double check the Ken Palm page, but yeah, it was an elite defense that they were top 30 in the country defensively. This year they're sub 100. Yeah. So that big difference for Duquesne. 5-seeded St. Louis will take on Davidson, who really struggled in that game against Richmond yesterday. Richmond got the money as the cover yesterday. From It's an interesting one. South Point is the largest number in the market on this at 4.5. It's a lot of 4. South Point opened 3. Now it's, like I said, 4.5. 141.5 the total. Boy, if you got on those early numbers on St. Louis, I think you did pretty well here. Now I would be treading very carefully now that we're north of 4 here in this game at the Point.
Completely agree. I had St. Louis 4 in this one, so that 3 was very tempting. And now that it just keeps moving up, I think that confirms that is the right side here. But St. Louis, the better team, the better defense. I think that they'll find a way to win this one and cover these numbers.
Let's go to the afternoon card at the A10 tournament. GW playing in their home city, taking on Fordham. 7 in this one with a total of 143.
Fordham, worst defense in conference play. So I really don't have anything in this one. I would lean to the under, but that defense does make me a little nervous here. But I did set it 140, 3-point difference there on the under. Nothing on the side. I think that 7 is fair.
And then the Philadelphia battle, 13 with St. Joe's against LaSalle. I don't think Lightning striking twice here in this one, Alex. Total 143.
I'm going to stay off of this one for sure. I believe my dad is as well. He was happy with the win yesterday. Another player out that he did not know about. So they were pretty fortunate, but Massachusetts had some players out as well. So nothing for me in this one. This was an easy pass.
Moving along. We go to the Big East. St. John's in action right now, the 1 seed. Handling their business against Butler, up 18 early in the second half, 49 to 31. Of course, Butler seed upset, not a betting upset yesterday against Providence. So again, St. John's doing what you would have expected here, Alex.
Well, especially, they've been so good defensively all year long, and now they're starting to shoot really well. So they are playing their best basketball. We said it yesterday or the day before. It really felt like it was their tournament to win this year. So we'll see if they can keep this going.
The winner of the next game will, unless if St. John's melts, will play St. John's tomorrow evening at Madison Square Garden. Xavier, who I think is a win-and-in scenario. They win this game against Marquette. They're in the NCAA tournament. If they lose, sweaty over the next few days before Selection Sunday. It's 3. That's the peak on Marquette is right here behind us. There's a lot of 2.5. There's even some 2 on this one. Total 145, Alex. I'm curious your thoughts on that total. That feels a little low knowing how Xavier wants to play here.
Definitely originally made it 150. So, yeah, I have it 5 points higher now. Taking my dad's advice with taking 5 points off in these conference games, or conference tournament games. So that keeps me off of it, but I love the 3 here with Xavier, and I could be crazy. We could see the old Marquette, but they have been very inconsistent, and Xavier is playing their best basketball. They won 7 in a row coming into the tournament. Very good 3-point shooting team. So yeah, I like Xavier in this one.
Bottom of the bracket, DePaul completed the 3-game sweep of Georgetown.
Can't believe it.
Now they'll take on Creighton. 12.5 behind us with the Blue Jays favored at MSG with a total of 143.5. I'm trying to find a reason to take DePaul. This feels like a lot of points to be getting here in this spot, Alex, but I just can't quite get there. And I don't think there'll be anything left in the tank for DePaul, in all honesty, in this game.
No, I don't either. And I don't want to go against Creighton. They are the team with the best 2-point field goal percentage in the country. So we know that they are going to be very consistent from short range. I like the Blue Jays. I don't want to lay 12.5. I'm going to stay off of this one, but I like this team a lot. And remember, one of their wins over DePaul this year, 73-49. So they're more than capable of blowing them out.
Moving along to the light game in MSG, Connecticut, 6.5 against Villanova. We know, again, St. John's fans in the morning session, UConn fans in the night session. We know that's how that's going to be, at least today. Obviously, it'll be a lot more of a split tomorrow, and then if they meet in the Big East final. I like Villanova, though. I like Villanova. The desperation factor here for the Wildcats, who have to win this tournament in order to make it to the big dance. If they make the final, maybe the committee could do something ridiculous and send them to Dayton. I don't think that would be right. I think that'd be ridiculous personally. But these two teams, they played at Villanova earlier in the year. Remember, Cats won that game by 2. They were competitive, actually leading at UConn a few weeks ago, ended up losing by 7. I think this is a tight game, Alex. I'll very happily take 6.5 with the Wildcats in this game.
I made it 4.5, so it is a strong lean to taking the points here with Villanova. I'm going to stay off of this, though. Kind of like I did with North Carolina and Kansas yesterday. I'm waiting for this team, and I think it could be here today.
Well, let's go to Indianapolis. Next, Alex, Big Ten, 8-9 game well underway already, early second half. Oregon, who closed a 2-point favorite, leads by 4 right now. Winner against Michigan State tomorrow in Indy. I'm very interested to see if Oregon comes out of this game, where that number comes tomorrow against Michigan State. If it's Indiana against Michigan State, lay it with Michigan State, because that is an epic revenge spot, with Sparty getting stunned by Indiana a few weeks ago. Really, the win that probably has Indiana in the field right now of 68 is that win in East Lansing about 3 weeks ago. All right, we'll go to the second game here, Alex. Northwestern got a nice decisive win yesterday against Minnesota. By the way, Minnesota fired Ben Johnson overnight after 4 years. See if they can do any better than him. 8.5 on this game with Wisconsin, with a total of 140.5 behind us, Alex.
I really like how Northwestern is playing. I think that is way too many points here. Now, Wisconsin might have peaked a little bit too early here, so I think you're getting the better team. They have one game under their belt. They looked very good in that game. Wisconsin, they're much better offensively, but I think Northwestern can hang around in this one. I think that is way too many points here.
I agree with him. I think this is going to be the theme in these games here today in the Big Ten. You're getting a lot of points with the teams that won yesterday, and I agree with you. I was looking for an angle to actually take Northwestern outright in this game. I just couldn't quite get there all the way on a plus 320, but at 8.5, might even see 9 by the time this game tips. Yep. I would very much look at Northwestern on that front. All right, Iowa. They weren't even going to go to this tournament. Then they won the final day of the regular season in Lincoln. Then they stunned Ohio State yesterday, probably knocking the Buckeyes out of the NCAA tournament field. Now they get a crack at Illinois. And look, this could go one of two ways, this game. Illinois could beat them by 30, or this game is going to be a one-possession game all the way to the end. And I lean very much to this being the tight game. I think this is too many points in the end. Of course, with Iowa, you always run the risk that their defense just doesn't show up.
Yes.
You always run that risk. And with Illinois, who is leading the Big Ten in three-pointers attempted, now, the silly thing with Illinois is they attempt the most three-pointers and are not a good three-point shooting team, because of course. But I like the 10. I'll very happily take double digits with Iowa. And I kind of like this game under the 165.5, which is always scary with this tempo that we're going to get in this game. But if this is an over game, that probably means Illinois scoring in the high 90s, and that is a bad recipe to cover 10 with Iowa here.
I think that's too many points as well. I made it 6.5 on a neutral here, so I do think there's value grabbing the 10 with Iowa. I don't know if it's going to make my board just yet, but they did look better. They played good defense yesterday against the Buckeyes, so I think they can hang around in that one. And you mentioned it. I mean, Illinois has been so inconsistent all year. We don't know which version we are going to get. I would lean to it being a close game here.
10. We're both looking at Iowa in this one against Illinois. Nightcap, USC needed 2 overtimes to beat Rutgers last night in what was a very weird game where USC dominated the first 25 minutes and then Rutgers blew a 4-point lead with 30 seconds to go. Now to get Purdue, USC's really talented. This is kind of at the bottom of that 14-11 matchup was, hey, underachieving big-time talent teams in USC and Rutgers. I expect this game to be tight. I don't think USC is the horse. I don't think USC will have enough left in the tank to pull it outright here. But 10 again, yeah, there's going to be more Purdue fans, obviously, in Indy. But I think this is too much again. I like taking the 10 with USC in this spot, Alex.
I am a little concerned. Purdue does have the pedigree, right? So they are used to turning it on in these tournaments here. I made it 7.5 though, so you're getting a 2.5 point difference here. It is a lot of points, but I think USC was pretty fortunate to get that win yesterday over Rutgers. I just don't really trust them all that much in this spot.
Purdue, again, great offense, not as good on defense as they've been in the past. The winner of this game, I will tell you right now, I will be taking them outright tomorrow against Michigan. Whoever wins this game, they will be an outright bet. Curious to see what a Purdue-Michigan number would be. Maybe Purdue actually does come a slight favorite in that game, which would be a lay of a small money line price. But if it's USC as a dog, yeah, third game in 3 days. You know my thoughts on Michigan at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think they're all that good. I think they're very fraudulent, just a little bit of a luck box, more so than anything. All right, we go to Kansas City next. Alex, you ready for fun with numbers on the first half with Iowa State and BYU real quick?
Yes.
Halftime score at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Iowa State 53, BYU 49. That's 102 points for you kids doing mathematics at home. The teams combined to make 23 pointers in the first half. They were 20 of 38 put together in the first half from three. Whoa, that is not sustainable. But second half total is 80. I'm not taking that under with the way the pace has been on top of it, because even with all those threes, the pace has been a quicker paced game. So be very careful. Iowa State, by the way, for the game, 3.5-point favorites right now, leading by 4, 53-49 at the break. What a fun game that's been to kick off the morning in KC, Alex.
And that's funny because it was a really fun game to end yesterday.
Kansas and Central Florida, that overtime game.
Yeah, and the shots were going in there too. So 80, second half. I don't know. I don't hate it. Like you said, that is not sustainable.
You're looking at 184 on your total live if you want it one way or another for a game that
closed 146.
146. Yeah. Yeah. If you lose that over, you take a lap. Let's just say that. So, all right. The winner of that game will play Houston tomorrow. Sorry, Colorado. They'll more likely than not play Houston tomorrow. Colorado, the 16 seed, who has upset both TCU and West Virginia. They were out of that game and then hit West Virginia with a 15-0 run and controlled the rest of the way. Very impressive by Tad Boyle's squad with a very underwhelming year. And here they are. We talk about 16s over ones don't happen, Alex. But here you go, 17.5. There's a lot of 18 in the market as well. Total's been banged down from 127.5 to 126, Alex. I don't know. This is a pretty brutal matchup to be having in a third game in 3 days for Colorado and Houston fully rested. I would be very careful if I'm taking points in this game with the Buffs, even with that boatload coming to you.
I agree. I have it 13.5, and I have Houston rated very high. So a nice 4-point difference there. I just don't know if it's enough. I mean, this Houston defense is just so good. So as good as Colorado has looked the last 2 days, I can't get there. Total, maybe we could bet on the under here because Colorado has been playing really good defense, and that is their better statistic from throughout the year. So maybe a lean to the under. Both of them trend to the under. Houston, we know 17 and 12 to the under on the year. So sitting at 126, it's gone down a little bit going that way. Yeah, I like the under here in this one.
We go to the bottom of the bracket, and these games are, again, everyone's eyes are on the SEC this year, and correctly so. But this day in the Big 12, other than the Houston-Colorado game, I mean, what else could you ask for in these other three games here today? Obviously, game one is delivering with Iowa State and BYU, and that game on the bottom of your screen that kicks off the night session in KC by Power and Light is Texas Tech and Baylor. Baylor looked like Baylor yesterday. That was as good as that is as good of a performance as they've had in months, honestly.
Yes.
From the Baylor Bears, really just thoroughly dominating K-State in a 14-point win that really was never even competitive.
No.
Now they get Texas Tech. We know how good the Red Raiders are, a legitimate top 10 team in the country. With that said, Alex White, I am on Baylor on the money line outright in this game. I think we get upsets in both of these late games here tonight. Well, I'll tell you why in a Kansas game in a second. It is a revenge spot. But what I saw from Baylor yesterday, that looked like the team that we've been waiting for all year long. Now, do you want to overreact to a round of 12 game against Kansas State? Maybe not. But when Baylor is right, They're as talented as anyone in this league, including Houston. We haven't seen that much this year. Getting healthier now as the season goes along. I'm taking the splash. Take the 6.5. Take the plus 240. I'm on the Bears in this game.
Absolutely love the 6.5 because I made this game 4, so big enough difference there. I would not be shocked, like you're saying, to see the upset here. I think you said it perfectly. But you want to find those teams. That's what March Madness is all about. That get hot at the right time. And you're right. Baylor Bears looked very good. And we know Scott Drew is a very good coach. So we have been waiting to see this from this team.
Again, could Texas Tech win this game by 15? 100%. They're that good. But got to take some shots in these conference tournaments. That's why they're around here. A lot of these teams are that close.
Yeah.
Especially in a league of this quality. And, I mean, we saw Colorado, the 16th seed, win 2 games in this tournament already. The nightcap, boy, we saw this matchup at Fog Allen over the weekend, and Kansas came away with the victory and now they take on Arizona. Kansas had to work a lot harder than you would have expected yesterday.
Yes.
Needed overtime to beat Central Florida. What was a track meet, an 85 possession monster possession game. Almost landed at 200 points. We didn't have to sweat our total at all.
I know. I'm glad I
yesterday.
tailed you too. Hopefully some other people did too.
So this is Arizona's up to 2.5 in this game. Totals at 151.5. I know Arizona wants to be defense first, but the pace is going to be too fast again. I like it over, and I like Kansas outright here. I just think this is a bad matchup for Arizona more so than anything.
Yeah.
And it is a de facto road game again for the Arizona Wildcats in this game. They're going to be very pro-Kansas, even though it almost didn't matter a night ago. But I like the plus 125. I like the over in this game here with Kansas and over against Arizona.
I do like what I saw from the Jayhawks yesterday. You could see the fire, and it took a little while, but that second half, Hunter Dickerson played very, very well. I think you'll see that from the start of this game, and definitely has the size advantage here over the Wildcats. So I don't hate this. I don't hate that at all. I made this game Arizona 1.5, so it's gotten too out of control. If it was a pick 'em just for the revenge factor, probably could have been on Arizona, but I'm going to stay off of it. I don't mind your over either. I did make it higher than this 151.5.
We go to the American Athletic next in Fort Worth. Wichita State up by 10 right now on South Florida at halftime. Wichita closed 2 here at the South Point. So winner of that game will get number 1 seed Memphis tomorrow. But Wichita in command against the Bulls. So we'll move to the second game. Charlotte pulled a slight upset against Rice yesterday. They're 10.5-point underdogs against FAU. This is a monster-style contrast, Alex. Very slow Charlotte, very fast FAU. 144 to total. Owls, of course, 10.5 in this one.
I think that number is very good. The bookmakers did a good job on both the side and the total here. Florida Atlantic did win both, even giving Charlotte the revenge factor. It's not enough for me in this one because FAU did prove that they could win in either style. They won 75-64 and then 87-75 at home. So slow or an up-tempo game. I think the Owls will be okay here. I'm not confident with laying 10.5 though, but I do think they'll win this one.
I'm going to stay out. I expect FAU to win comfortably, but 10.5 is a lot to go with here.
And even throw in that money line on a parlay is not very helpful.
Correct. 100% on all accounts. Temple and Tulsa, the battle of T's in this one. Temple obviously had that epic overstreak earlier in the year, up to 14 games before it ended. 3.5, 142.5. Temple's better. If you can find a money line dance partner, I don't mind it, but not particularly strong enough on either side in this game for me.
They did split in the regular season, so Tulsa has to have some confidence knowing that they can beat Temple. I lean to taking the points here, but it's really not enough for me to get involved. I have Temple 2, so just a 1.5 point difference. Total, wow, 142. I've got it 144, but thought it opened a little bit higher there, and I almost had an under, but I guess I do not. So pass for me in this one.
Going open 144.
Okay.
So it has gone down on that total. ECU and UTSA, 4.5 with the Pirates in this game. I feel like every time I bet an ECU game, I lose. It doesn't matter which direction I go. So if you go off the KenPom numbers, I think you have a legitimate argument to take UTSA in this game, just because you're dealing with two teams that are separated by 16 slots. That's nothing for this time of year. But again, I feel like I've gotten every ECU game I've been associated with wrong this year. So I'm staying out of this, Alex.
I think there's value taking the points there with UTSA, like you're saying. I mean, the two games that they've already played were very close games. East Carolina won both of them, 80-79, so 1 point game there. And then the other one, UTSA did force overtime. They ended up losing them on 96-89. So 4.5, yep, I like it a lot, especially because it's a big difference for me. I have this game pick 'em.
Like I said, I'm with you. It would be a UTSA bet, but I'm just not seeing ECU correctly all year long for whatever reason. All right, we go to the. Did we even hit the nightcap in the SEC?
We did not.
So we're going to hit the nightcap in the SEC with Oklahoma and Kentucky real quick. Earlier in the show, we stayed off A&M in Texas. Alex likes Mississippi State. Arkansas not doing well right now, down 10 against Ole Miss. Oklahoma and Kentucky. OU got a huge win last night against Georgia. Just had to have it to make sure to get on the right side of the bubble. I think they're safe now because of their big strength in non-con and enough quality conference wins despite only having 7 total. Cats are 6.5, 161. Alex, I like the over in this game. I expect this pace to be fast as heck. And I think there's a legitimate argument to take Oklahoma in this game as well with the points.
I have 166, so yeah, that's a 5-point difference there for the over, and I definitely think there's an argument to take the points with Oklahoma. I'm going to wait, though, because I do have Kentucky 4.5 right now. I've got a 2-point difference. I think we might see some public money to drive this number a little higher, get a 7 or 7.5 here, but Sooners are playing good basketball right now. Kentucky coming in a little bit of rest here, so we'll see. Maybe it's a little rust and Oklahoma can jump out. I was kind of debating and seeing if Sooners first half might be a better bet and them really coming in strong to start the game.
I think you can make an argument for that. Get 3.5 with OU first half. I think you can make the argument on that. Yesterday, good first half.
Yeah.
Really controlled the game in the second half as well. It was a good win for Oklahoma, just necessary more so than anything. All right, let's go just down the road from us, Alex. Mountain West time. San Jose State did their best to blow that game yesterday, but they found a way to win in the 8-9 game against Wyoming. They'll take on New Mexico, and this is usually the case in this Mountain West tournament. The 1-8-9 winner is always a big number, and it's a big one here. 16, Alex, with a total of 149.5. New Mexico, the big favorite against the Spartans here.
If I'm not mistaken, I know that they didn't all cover, but all chalk did move on, right?
All chalk won yesterday, yes.
And it's kind of expected because this conference is very split up with the bottom and then the middle group. And then
actually, all the favorites were 0-3 yesterday because I think Fresno got in the back door yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So favorites won, but dogs covered. Nice. Split in the regular season. San Jose State has beaten New Mexico already once this year. But I can't get there quite with San Jose to even cover this number. I do have it 14 double digits. I would like more than 2.5 difference even. Maybe I could make a case for the under here, but New Mexico plays very fast, even though they are defense first. So that would make me a little nervous too. San Jose State does want to play at a slower pace. I think there's a better under, though, in this conference tournament coming up.
Well, I think we're going to talk about it right now, right? 5-4. Gotta have it for Boise State. You win this game, I still don't think they're on the right side of the bubble, but you at least improve your prospects. San Diego State's probably in, but if you want a sweat-free 72 hours, you win this game if you're the Aztecs. Alex, I think the wrong team's favored for one. So I do like San Diego State plus 115 in this matchup, but you like this total much more than the side in this game.
I do like the under. I don't blame you, Jeff, but I guess the bookmakers think a little bit about revenge too, because I think that 2 points is kind of giving it to Boise with the Aztecs finding a way to win both games in the regular season here. I think I made it a pick. I think these two teams are pretty much even, and I think this is going to be very playoff style basketball. a rock fight here between these two. So I love the under here. It's close to what I made it, 133.5, but taking 5 points off of it, which I think is definitely necessary in this one. Not huge trends to the under, but both very good defensive teams, especially the Aztecs, and they do struggle to score. So I like the under.
Well, we got two different types of action in this game. No two-way, though, at least. Sorry, Vinny. All right, moving along. This is an interesting one. That 7-2 game, Colorado State and Nevada. Remember, these two teams played in the conference tournament a year ago in the semifinals, and Colorado State really put it on Nevada in that game. Now, the teams are obviously a little bit are obviously different. I think Colorado State's one of the most underrated teams in the country at this point. They are not getting the due for how well they have been playing over the last month and a half. Now, do I want to lay 5.5 in this game? Probably not, but I do think Colorado State can go in one of those moneyline parlay fillers here today. But 138 the total. Nevada, the one thing that always worries you with Nevada, they are super talented. You never know if that light bulb can pop on at any point, and if it's going to pop on, it's got to come right now.
Yeah.
So, but it would be Colorado State in the money line parlay more so than anything, Alex.
I have Colorado State 7.5 in this one, better than Nevada. I did give Nevada the revenge, so it keeps me off of the side. But if you took that out and just went off of the better team, I agree with you. I think that is the right side and would even be more willing to lay it here with the Rams than to take it with the Wolfpack. I think they've been pretty fortunate at the end here to even finish in the seed that they did, Nevada, that is. So I like Colorado's side. Lean to the under, as I do with most Mountain West games, but not a strong enough play for me in that one.
And in the nightcap, UNLV against Utah State. Of course, the Rebs beat Utah State actually in this building earlier in the year. Alex, I think there's too many points, actually. Again, there's always a question with UNLV. Do they have the ability to score and stay in these games, especially without Thomas in there? But it feels like this is too many points for me, Alex. I feel like this should have come about 5, especially I know it's technically a neutral, but no travel for UNLV, as we know. But I would take 7.5 with the Rebs, and I would lean to the under. As you said, these unders in these Mountain West games are usually the lean more times than not. Definitely
a strong lean to the under here. Utah State, though, are better offensively than they are defensively and do like to run a little bit. So I think these numbers are both fair, 7.5 and 141. I'm going to stay away. I'm also very cautious of UNLV right now. I'm kind of nervous about when the wheels are going to fall off without their young point guard. So nothing for me in that one.
We go to Atlantic City next. The MAC with 2 A's. Chalk prevailed, but not without some agita here on Merrimack yesterday. They needed overtime to beat Sacred Heart in that game yesterday. Quinnipiac rolling over Ryder yesterday afternoon. Now the winner of the first game, Manhattan and Iona. The Gales are 2.5-point favorites as the 4 seed. Total 143. Total contrast here. Alex, what do we got?
Ooh, I lean to taking the points here. I think these two teams are pretty evenly matched and a little bit to the over, even though we are seeing that go the other way. But, I mean, both of these teams have trended to the over, especially Manhattan, 17-9 to the over this year. But, yeah, I think this will be a pretty even matchup. So, if anything, I would take the points. But I like some other dogs more than I did with Manhattan.
I actually would lean to the Jaspers. They're better in KenPom than Iona is. So don't see that sort of opportunity too often. So I would look to take the plus 120 with Manhattan. Again, winner gets Quinnipiac. Winner's probably going to lose to Quinnipiac in the next round, more likely than not. And then 3-6, Marist is 4 against Mount St. Mary's. The total, as we talked about, these Marist games have come super low. They play very slow. They're good on defense. They're horrendous on offense. 126, the total. Marist 4. Alex, it would only be the under at 126, as comically low as it is for me in this game.
My gosh. I don't blame you. Both of these teams want to play slow and both want to play good transition defense. So they're going to force each other into that shot clock. So I agree with you. I think that this is a lean to the under, and points at a premium. When you have a total this low, I would definitely lean to taking the points here between these two. First game was an 8-point difference, so could get into some foul trouble there at the end, which I do hate with those smaller spreads. But I don't hate your under at all. I think that's probably the best way to play this game.
So this is actually a back-to-back matchup for both of these teams. They played last Saturday. Mount St. Mary's won by 11. 61 possessions in that game, Alex. So it's pretty good if you like unders. Marist loses 4 in a row after really what was a magical season for them, 20-5. They're 20-9 and 270th in KenPom. You can tell the numbers do not like them one bit in this year. All right, next up, 2 very good games in the CUSA today. CUSA yesterday, chalk prevailed there. Jacksonville State handled FIU. Liberty really put it on UTEP in the 1-8. The winner of the first game will take on Liberty. And this is a good game. These are 2 good games today. Kennesaw and New Mexico State, the 4-5 matchup. And Alex, there's no separation in the line. This is a pick between these 2 squads with a total of 136.5 now on this one.
I think that number is just right. I think this game should be a pick between these 2. Total as well, right there, 136. So I'm right with the bookmakers on this one. Do you have a lean one way or the other? Dead even game. Now, they're both defense first teams, but the oddity with this game is that Kennesaw wants to run and New Mexico wants to grind. This could very easily be which tempo wins out. The team that controls the tempo wins the game. So I always lean towards the grinders in these conference tournaments. So a small lean to New Mexico State, but it's not strong enough to make my board here today. 2 even teams right on the number here with a pick. And in the second game, Middle Tennessee and La Tech for a 6-3. This is a pretty even game. There's only 11 spots separating these 2 in KenPom, so they're pretty even. 115 for Middle Tennessee, 126 for La Tech. This is 2 here at the South Point with a total of 141.5. I would lean to the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee, but there's an argument to take the points here with how even these teams are, at least ratings-wise, Alex. Yeah, but when you think about the revenge factor and add that in, then I'm with you. I would definitely lean to Middle Tennessee State. But, it's tough. I mean, it is pretty dead even game for this one as well.
Again, La Tech won both in the regular season against Middle Tennessee. So when the teams are even, I lean more towards your revenge angle.
Exactly.
Obviously, when you get a situation where it's a total mismatch, there's only so much you can take from it. But when they're dead even like this, the sweep does play against the team that did the sweeping in the regular season, unless if it is such a bad matchup for the other team, and I don't think that's the case here.
I'm glad that you said that. I hope people know that, too, that is really when we're extremely looking at it, because, I mean, you can't go with the team that has revenge against everyone, right? So you're definitely, the more even they are, the better the revenge there.
Let's go to the Orleans Arena. We actually wrap here with the games that are happening here in town. Seattle and Abilene Christian. Winner will get the 1 seed, Utah Valley, who handled their business yesterday against Utah Tech. Seattle's a 5.5-point favorite as the 5 seed here with a total of 132.5. And Alex, I'm staying the hell away from this game.
And I still think that total is too high. I made it lower. I'm taking 5 off. So I think this is a great under here between these 2. Seattle 17-10 to the under. Checking and making sure I know their pace, which is very slow, 267 in the country, an average of 66 possessions. So, yeah, I like this one under. Now, it is a contrast in the way they want to play, but wow, Abilene Christian just really struggles offensively. So I like this under. I think that is much too high for these 2.
And in the second game, 3 seed Cal Baptist will take on Tarleton State, 5.5 with a total of 127. Tarleton, coached by Billy Gillespie, who is still coaching, which is surprising in its own right, plays one of the more bizarro styles in the entire country. And when we knew Gillespie from the past always played a weird style, they are 356th in offensive tempo. They are number 1 in defensive tempo. So they want to speed you up when they're defending, and they want to grind it to a halt when they're on offense. With that said, I like Cal Baptist. I just think they're the much better team in this game, Alex. I would lay the 5.5 with Baptist here in this one.
Nothing for me in this one. I think that number is right. Lean to the under in this one as well, but with that style of play, I think that his trend here with his teams are pretty even. They are 15 and 14 to the under, so nothing really trend-wise, but yeah, I stayed off of this one.
Big West, CSUN and UCSB. Good matchup here. Gauchos and Matadors here right out of the chute here in the 4-5. Winner gets the mighty Tritons of UC San Diego in the semifinals. Again, UC San Diego, we talked about it, should probably be in the NCAA tournament even if they don't win the Big West, but we'll see how it plays out. CSUN's 3.5 in this game with a total of 151.5, Alex.
CSUN did win both games this year, 78-71 and 103-77. They are the better team. The line is telling you that right there. If you give the revenge factor, you could make a case for Santa Barbara, but I'm really not interested because I do have CSUN 4.5 here, so not enough for me to jump in on this one. My numbers say over, but I'm going to stay away from that as well.
Interesting to see what the tempo is because Santa Barbara, who's usually a slower team, has played the fast tempo games the last 3 games. They played along with their opponents.
Yep.
78 possessions against Cal Poly, 73 possessions against the CSUN team in that 103-77 loss 2 weeks ago. And then they played a 74 possession game that they lost to Irvine 97-88. If Santa Barbara's willing to play at at Northridge tempo, this game's going way over. But tournament game, one of UC Santa Barbara was just saying, hey, are we capable of playing these tempos at the end of the regular season, knowing they have to win this tournament in order to get in anyway? Tread carefully. That's all I'll say with that one. Yesterday was a much normal 66 possession game for the Gauchos against Bakersfield. 7-3 matchup. Cal Poly with a win yesterday. Nice come from behind win.
Yes.
We needed it.
Yes.
In that one. Now they're 4.5 against UC Riverside. Alex, I like Mustangs again. I'll take the points as opposed to taking the outright here. Take 4.5. I think this is a tight game. The Highlanders win as a favorite, but don't cover. That feels like the most logical thing for me. So I'll take 4.5 with Cal Poly.
I like it. I have these teams pretty evenly matched, to be honest. So I think that you are getting a good value here with that 4.5. I've got Riverside 1 on a neutral. So, and they've got a game under their belt. So let's go with Cal Poly one more time.
Real quick on the extra board, Alex. There was a huge upset in the SWAC yesterday. Number 1 seed Southern goes down. Grambling pulls the upset. So Texas Southern, Alabama State's the first game here today. Alabama State's 1. Second game, Bethune-Cookman is 3 against Alcorn. They'll get Jackson State, who handled their business against FAMU. I don't have anything in either of these games. All I could say is the bracket opens up for the bottom of the bracket, where Jackson State and Bethune-Cookman, assuming Bethune-Cookman handles their business today, the winner of that one is going to win this tournament, Alex.
The only one I would take a look at and maybe dive deeper into is Alabama State and Southern under the total. I'm not sure what that current line is.
137.
137. I was looking at it. Wow, much higher. I still think that's okay. Really, both of them trends to the under here. Southern 16 and 8. So I would dive in more though and really make sure that you like it and everything matches up.
And then the MEAC over at Scope Arena, Norfolk State, the 1 seed, won but did not cover against UMass yesterday. South Carolina State, same deal. Didn't cover but won against Coppin. So top 2 advance. 4-5 matchup is Morgan State and Howard. Howard's a 3.5-point favorite in that one. And then 3-6, Delaware State and NC Central. And the Hornets are only 1 against NC Central in the nightcap, Alex. I do like NC Central outright against Delaware State. The other game, I don't have anything.
I have that one picked, so I really don't mind. I haven't really dove into these 2 games. I leaned to Morgan State taking the points. I might have to dive into that one and see if it's an official play.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, whiteboards, and is the JR Invitational still the JR Invitational? We'll tell you about the trivia question and answer when we get back. Sports by the Book. We're live, as always, at the South Point.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day. plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books, 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza. Plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Before we get our whiteboard, because Alex has the board I don't, we go to the trivia. Which charter member of the ACC won the first men's basketball tournament in 1954? And then we'll have the who are the 7 charter members in a second. It was North Carolina State who beat Wake Forest in a game that had 162 points in 1954. Wow, that's interesting.
That is very interesting.
Even without a shot clock, very good. The 7 charter members of the ACC was another question that was thrown out there on the studio page. Clemson, Duke, Maryland, UNC, NC State, South Carolina, and Wake Forest. If you got all 7, job well done. South Carolina, I think, is the trickiest of those 7 to remember that they started in the ACC before they made their way. Of course, they were in the Metro, and then they made their way to the SEC, of course, where they currently are now. JR, by the way, got the NC State portion right. So JR continues the JR invitation. Was that a boo? Wow. I will not name who booed JR, but that's not nice.
It was not Sean.
It was not Sean. That's all I'll tell you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the whiteboards. Wow. We like lifting people up here at the show. We're not booing them. All right, Alex, what do we have on the whiteboard here today?
All right, I'm going with 4 dogs and 4 totals today. I know it's a lot of plays, so you can dive in and follow me on whichever ones you like, or don't follow me on any. I don't really mind. SMU +7 today. Xavier +3. Baylor taking the 6.5, and Cal Poly +4.5. Going to the 4 totals, and Mississippi State almost made the board at +3.5, but I wanted to narrow it down to my 4 best. Going with totals, 3 unders and 1 over, just like yesterday. So starting with the unders, Colorado and Houston under 126.5. Boise State and SDSU under 134.5. Seattle and Abilene Christian under 132.5. And OU Kentucky, we're taking that over 162. 5 and 2 yesterday on the official whiteboard play, so I'm hoping to keep it going here.
Keep it going. Get some winners. Baylor's my best play today. We're in agreement on that one. Actually, even like I said earlier in the show, I like Baylor outright. Have them win this game outright against Texas Tech here today. All right. We're back tomorrow. Dwayne Colucci will join me. Looking forward to that. He'll be on about 10 after 10 tomorrow morning. Alex, enjoy your day off.
Thank you.
I don't know if you're like Sean and really enjoy the rain that we're going to get today. I don't know if you're like that.
Yes.
I think that's the proper response. But we're looking forward to that, and looking forward to us up at the racetrack, actually. If you happen to be going out to the NASCAR race this week, be on the lookout for us on Saturday. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, if anybody that's in the chat is there, please come say hello to us.
Absolutely. Alex, good luck. Jerry, Sean, Vince, Ryan, and Drew Dog, thank you all. As always, we are back tomorrow in 23 hours from now, right here on Sports by the Book, live as always from the South Point studio.